Hello and welcome to the next episode of this disaster series, which is all about this Lego room, and especially after the last episode, my life. Now, we've got lots to get through in today's upload, and one of those things that we are going to be focusing on today is this Ninjago area. Now, we left it like this at the end of the last upload because it was on a completely different table. But because the last upload was so long with regards to other little bits and pieces that went wrong, that we are now going to be having a very, very good play with regards to this and sort of doing lots of different configurations and seeing which looks best. Then I'm going to take some photos and I'm going to put a poll up, and then you guys and girls can let me know exactly how to leave it, because bearing in mind the new one that I am yet to get is 2 base plates big, so we've got to try and figure that out and get that sort of configuration in and get that looking quite nice. There's lots and lots to do with this one. Then over here we want to try and spend a little bit more time getting their head onto the track, see what we can do with that. Everything else behind it over the last couple of weeks we have started to make progress with, so everything that you're seeing now, if I get it from a better angle like so, you can see that we are starting to get different levels within the city, which is obviously mainly for a theme park area. So we've got all the different rides going in and wrapping it round, so it should be looking like different zones. And once it starts to get all tiled eventually, then we will be really starting to make it look nice and smart with all of the different minifigures. So that is one big thing that we want to try and achieve today, and that's going to take a good amount of time as well, because I've got to move it all. I'm not going to cut anything out. If anything breaks, it breaks, and then I'll start crying. Then we have the head that we want to get through, but the first thing we're going to start on is where we left off with the last one, but there's now a bit of a spanner in the works, like there always is. Lego have just, and they haven't officially announced it, but apparently it is due to come out on in March at some point. So today is Tuesday the 8th of February, and now normally Lego in the UK, sorry, it's Thursday today, Thursday the 8th of February. Now normally Lego on their Lego website will release things much, much later on. So official images have come out of this new set, apart from the UK website. So I haven't actually seen it properly, but I will be going live tonight, or later on, because it's already in the evening, to actually measure it up. So this will be over 2 parts, or 2 days for me, but it'll be the same part for you. And that is the new add-on, I do believe it's an add-on, to the castle. So what we want to be trying to do is figuring out, can we make a very, very nice medieval section within this display? Now, how we left it was just getting the Harry Potter basically as an alleyway, because it just took up too much space. And then I said, oh, it'll free up some space potentially for the castle at a later date. Less than a week, they've now announced this brand new set that's supposed to go with the castle, which is a medieval market. You couldn't have asked for any better time with that, and at least I'm prepared for it. So what we are going to be doing first is I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with Castle Grayskull, figure out what I'm going to do with this massive wind farm fan, because there's absolutely nowhere else that it can go. If you stay nice and low, it's absolutely fine. And if it's nice and high, I don't really care if it offends anybody. And then we've got to try and get this in, and then we have got obviously the He-Man castle as well. So I think what I'll do is end up just placing the He-Man castle in a bit of a more random place a little bit further away, and then seeing if we can configure it with potentially the medieval castle as well, because that opens up, and depending on what we can do with that, we will go from there. But we've basically got 3 zones that we need to speak about today. The last zone, which if we get time, we'll have a little bit more of a play and a measure, is going to be this table here, which looks like absolutely nothing. So this L shape is supposed to be for all the Jurassic Park sets and the Loop roller coaster. But as we have none of those here, I've just left space for it, and it will just happen when it happens. The Jurassic Park sets keep going into a sale, so they're getting better and better with regards to price, but it is just trying to figure out which area to attack first. So by the end of today, not only will we have this in situ, you guys and girls are going to have to let me know with what area you would like to see built up next. Would we like the Ninjago finished? Would we like to go fully deep and get this whole back section finished with the castle and maybe the new set as well, and then look into getting the Jurassic Park sets? That is up for debate within this. And I did say in the last upload, what I will do in my own free time is I will end up getting this tinkered and repaired. This is the first time I've been up here since the last upload, because that is how busy my life is at the moment. I have no free time. So if anybody wants to build this for me, please, please, please let me know. So this is a very long-winded intro to what is to come within this upload, but I think we can now just get on with it, start to attack it, and see exactly what we're going to drop. Right, so we'll spend some time getting this potentially together. Now, I can't actually remember what nonsense I put back. Nothing. We made some space last time. Perfect. So what I'm going to end up doing is trying to get the alleyway on here potentially, and then maybe move the Stranger Things set over, or we just have the alleyway here facing forward. That would be the easiest thing to do, and then the castle goes over to the other side. So why don't we do that first? Why don't we just try and keep it, for a change, nice and simple? So what I'm going to need to do, because I am obviously balancing over the loft hatch, so I know it'd be highly entertaining if I actually fell down the loft ladders for everybody, but it wouldn't be ideal for me. Now, what we potentially got is where this turbine blade is, could just be the new brick bank, yeah, the Harry Potter bank. So we could keep those two close together, but I'm sure every time we go to do this, I can't fit the base plates on each other. So that is why we never do it, but I can never remember. So, oh, you're gone, caught you. I didn't break that, camera's fine. Yeah, this is what we're moving. This is a cool looking thing. And we can push this back, and then what we're going to have to do is over a period of time figure out exactly what is going on with this. Now obviously we can create shapes with this. I have no idea where I've just knocked that off from. We'll put that there for now. I don't know if we can just start to create bits and just keep it nice and tight like that, and then we can just have like a little walkway through. That would be, well, it looks sweet enough. I mean, if we used the correct one, we would actually be able to have a path going down that way. So this is the thing that I want to sort of try and do with you guys and girls now, because if you didn't realise, they are all open on the back, but they are meant to be like this. So that's one way that I like seeing them, because you can display it where two base plates are obviously the width of the one. So that instantly gives you that effect of it being a nice, really busy area, and it's simple. The only problem that it is not that simple is there's 4 of them, and there's only 3 of them there. So obviously we can, oh, I'm not going to fall over doing this, is we can potentially do that, where it's now all enclosed, and then you've just got this bit on the back and you can see all 4 of them. But if we put this in the correct place, this is obviously the pathway that we can have going to the next zone. So there is options for that, because I've probably not yet mentioned, this is all one big theme park, and we are getting all of the bits and pieces together, so it's going to be land into land into land. Now I think I want to try and keep these areas nice and tight, because we've got the Rivendell into all the tree stuff, and we've got a bit of an Easter egg with the Winnie the Pooh. We've got some haunted bits and pieces, so this footpath is just going to zigzag around. It's going to look nice and smart. And then obviously we've got the drop tower ride in that area, and then we've got your picnic section with the Rivendell, and then you walk underneath the Stranger Things thing, and then you become to here. Now the only other option is if I was actually to move this completely, move that completely, and see if I can make an alleyway lengthwise. So we have it as it is like that, but we make it too deep, because I am almost 1,000,000% sure that it won't. Oh, actually, he says that out loud and goes, maybe, because of where we are, I don't know, we can just create an alleyway having 2. So if, I don't actually know where to put, I am so close to falling over. So if I was to do that and do like that and like that, oh, they will fit. Oh, fantastic. There we go. It's because we're at the wider part of the wall, I think because the wall bows, it sounds stupid, but the wall isn't straight, so the further we go down we can't really do this, but you can see how much table space we've got. So I think that is the easiest way of doing it, just to create that alleyway. Why am I holding you? I don't know. So you go there. And that's that. That's basically what it is. I think that is the best way. I think that's the easiest way. It just makes the most sense. It takes up the least amount of space. It's just 2 base plates like that. And then we have got something that we could put here. And then now we've got literally 3/4 of a table to do whatever it is that we want to do with. And when this gets repositioned and moved to a completely different area, when I've refelted the whole roof, because again, we've now got snow stuff coming in from New York, so that is just, this weekend's gonna be another complete write-off. It's been raining every single weekend, or windy every single weekend since Christmas. I get 1 day a week to get on that roof, and I have not been able to do it because of the weather. So I think that might be the way to go. Let us know in that comment section what you think. Oh, that was my ankle against the top of that ladder. That really hurts. So yeah, so that's how that is. And you can see how much that is overhanging. And also I can pull the table straight. So we'll get these tables kissing and touching together. So we've got a little bit to do. But I like that. I think that works well. And obviously we can, if we want to, bring it to the edge here, if we think that's a little bit better. And then we have no white whatsoever. So we did that, There's actually not that much. As you can see at the back, it's only a teeny tiny bit, and that could be the next path down. I think potentially the path down, that could step to the next bit. So it depends if we want to do something with the top part of this table or not. And then we've got to kind of think how we can manipulate this around, because I just don't know out of the 4 which will be the best to position as a walk bit through, because they all do look very, very nice, but the only one that has any sort of tease is this one, because this actually takes you to the next thing, which is supposed to be the alleyway. So do we create our own alleyway to the castle? And they walk through the alleyway, and we do it that way, because we can create the path dropping down onto the table from the back from the spiral one, and then it moves down. If you're wondering why this has changed, I can't get the stuff underneath the table to do the 2 tiers. So over Christmas there's a big project that we were going to do, and basically the legs of the table, they're just in the way, and it won't work. So the plan of attack for that has completely failed. They will be used for something a little bit different, but it just didn't go too well, so I can't be bothered to. I just want to get these in and get these all tiled now. So I think potentially that this is going to be the best one facing the outer edge, because we can get that alleyway through. I don't know if we have, yeah, and then we push the paint for a little bit of colour a little bit further down. And then the nice blue one, so this one just here, which is the Ollivander's One Shop, and some of the little bits and pieces. Looks nice, and that can go up here. So I think that's it, that's in. So that is spaced exactly to the stud. So that's how that's going to be. You've got a couple of extra studs in the middle. That'll come all the way down. And I can now get the camera down, which is helpful enough, which means I can get some nice video and photos, obviously, for social media nonsense. And then we've got that nice little T-shape up at the top, which means then the path can go off that way as well. So this alleyway could be just an alleyway to nowhere. Do believe it's a shop at Universal in Florida. You go down the alleyway and you've got a load of little interactive bits and pieces, so we could just put a little picnic section, tables and chairs. Now only something small, like that sort of size, we could do something like that, and then we can do some different bits and pieces with it. But then that leaves us into the next area. Now, I think the He-Man castle obviously has to go with the castle, but it's going to have to be staggered, because we're going to have a medieval village, and the He-Man castle might have to be opened up fully, which would be the first time I've ever done that on display. But I think all I'm going to have to do for now is just tuck it into the corner like so, because you can see that this actually comes apart really easily, and it opens up nicely. And you can obviously open up the drawbridge, and there's loads of stuff you can do with that, and it is a nice looking thing. So we either have it there as just a little bit of an Easter egg, and we kind of wrap it around the back as an L shape, and then we make the medieval village on the inside, or we try and combine this area with the medieval village. Or obviously the other thing that we do is, if I can get that on here, when this disappears, this T shape goes to the next ride, so it would be the taller Harry Potter bit. So we've actually got some height to behind the Harry Potter bit, and then from probably that car is where the medieval village starts, and then we've got it on this corner. So that is the other option, and to be fair, I think that probably makes a little bit more sense, because the He-Man castle would be nice as an Easter egg facing forward, just where that blade is, and I'm sure it'd be tight, but it's much bigger than 32 by 32, which is the only downfall to it. So it might need a bit of persuasion going in, because I can't really move any of that left. But like I said, this will be coming out, so it's either the big Harry Potter ride, so we've got the two height side by side, or He-Man castle goes here, and then we can, I guess, create its own land within the land, because you could walk to the Harry Potter and then back through, and then that would look nice. And then the medieval land would start where that car is backwards, because the castle would probably be open. Now this is all rumours, mind. I'm just thinking that it will be its own village, because they are saying that it will combine with the castle. Now even if the castle's shut and you've got the medieval in front of it, it will look very, very smart. But the medieval castle open looks great. And we have seen it at Legoland California, where they did actually tile behind it. But my only issue is how the castle would open. Because if the castle opens up like a book, I'm going to have the inside showing, not the outside. Because of how the wall is, it's on the wrong wall. So it's like that, the shadow box, for example. It's like if that shadow box was the other way, you would be in, I'd be in trouble if it didn't open up the other way. So there is potential for that, but I'm glad we got that in. We've made some space for that. It was actually a much smaller move than I thought it was going to be, which is fantastic. But I think what we'll do is, there's no point in me moving that for the sake of moving it, because that is just going to hit the roof and then it's not going to go anywhere. So we'll worry about the castle section when it's time to get to the castle section. Now we have got a rather large area to attack next. You notice how I'm just leaving bits messy, like the messy bits I just don't want to touch, because I just can't be bothered. But before we move on to the Ninjago, does that work? I think it looks nice. So Rivendell, that looks nice. Winnie the Pooh, horror, the A-frame tree out the back, that again, that's the other thing. Does the A-frame go there instead? Now the A-frame went there because it would work there, because it's a cabin, obviously. Do we put the cabin exactly where that is, which then means the He-Man castle will have to go somewhere else, and the Harry Potter thing would have to go where we said it was going to go. So it's not too complicated to flip around, but I don't want to, oh, his knee fell down again then. I don't want to, oh dear. This is the problem, in case you're wondering. I've got these on top of the ladder. So if I trip over them, I go down quite a high set of ladders and end up breaking things, which wouldn't be the first time. Bones or Lego. But yeah, stood back. That's something I didn't really want to kick. The Lego House exclusive set, not exactly ideal. Yes, I have sets everywhere because we are in the process of trying to make something look nice. But that is the back. That back is coming together nicely. And then, yeah, I can see that working well. Here is hopefully going to be the loop coaster. And I think we came to the conclusion, the last one, that the loop coaster will fit with all the Jurassic Park sets on the same table, which means this table where the T-Rex is actually completely free. So if that is the case, we could have, and it's a big could, we could have the castle and a medieval grounds, because that's a big thing that they've got at the Legoland parks. And then the next half of the table could be a Mega Construx stuff, because they've got Snake Mountain out at the moment as well. So those two, I think, side by side would look very, very good on display. And then that would leave us maybe a little bit of overflow from either the medieval Mega Construct or the Jurassic Park, depending on how that is. This bit up at the top, this monstrosity all up here, this was all ready for a live minifigures to be placed, and we had a power cut and we didn't do it. And now they're still waiting there for a live, and I don't particularly want to move them because they are ready literally to go, should we put that minifigure there, should we put that minifigure there. I want to do that live, but we're not on the day of the live of me doing that up here. So that's not exactly ideal, but what we can do next, before we get over to that side, is this. Now, it's going to have to take some time doing this, so I'm going to need you to start typing away what you think looks best. What we have got to consider is this thing here, and do we want the waterfall in there? Now, I am going to do something a completely different layout to start with. I'm just going to put you down on the table and start to move you around, and then see how many base plates we've got left. Because we need 2 base plates, plus maybe a base plate for the new dragon set. And this is not leaving any space for any Monkey Kid stuff. So potentially the Monkey Kid stuff goes in front of that coaster, or we have a bit of space in front of that coaster, because you want to be able to see the bits and pieces even though it's in its own land and its own section. Because obviously we've lost some of the modulars behind the Joker Manor because you've got the Jazz and all that kind of thing there. But potentially, again, there is an option that I look and hunt down the massive Ferris wheel, which I've been talking to K-Bricks about. I think that Ferris wheel base of that Ferris wheel is about the same size as that Joker Manor. So that we've got a big Ferris wheel within that land, because obviously the Ferris wheels are massive. And then you have that back over into the DC section. So we've got options, but we are now going to move on to the Ninjago section. But I think, me being an absolute moron, before I do that, I might actually have to get that A-frame cabin moved, because I need to have some space just to my left to put all those sets on, to then take them back off the table to put them in neatly. That just makes it a little bit easier for me to do things, especially if it's just moving those ones in the middle. I don't want that to get damaged. Now, if we've dumped the He-Man castle over in that corner, I would imagine that fan should fit behind the Harry Potter, and then would see if the A-frame, what the A-frame cabin looks like in situ. So if I do that next, I really am going to fall down those loft ladders, because we were going to do something with the pirate stuff that clearly probably isn't going to be happening at all anymore. That is the van that comes with it, and then we have got, in case you're wondering what these are, this is, I think this is Dubai currency. It is. So I have some Dubai bits of paper there, which might be needed again this year. And then this thing moves, so you can see exactly what the problem is now, can't you? This is why I didn't want to move it. Can I get it in without breaking the blade? Answer to that is yes, just. That's how big that thing is. So, oh dear, don't want to do that. That is actually pinned against the roof and the wall. So this blade is enormous. The thing that fell off was just a minifigure, so that was one of these. It's a cool looking one. Yeah, I've got all sorts of different minifigures up on there. So we've got these two, one CMF, and I think there's one from another thing. So that leaves, that's obviously now sort of like a to-do dumping table. That now needs the A-frame cabin. And yes, I am holding on to, I am holding on to the roof as I go. It's like the most dangerous section to do. Now I think I'll put you back down at a distance, because you know where the A-frame cabin is, and then we can just pick that up, get that on, and at least that is a 32 by 32 base plate of space, and we can see what it looks like, and we can figure out what we're going to do with the front of it, because it might be too small. Might be too small, or it might be spot on. Now the other half of the roof is coming, and I've got the front of the steps to put back on it as well, so it is all complete, which is lovely. So that will go back onto there. That for some reason has a serious wobble. I'm not too sure why that's so wobbly. And then this just, I do believe, just hooks on, doesn't it? So that is that. That looks quite sweet then. Yeah, I think that works. I think that works. Let's see what it looks like. Oh God, get away from that. Let's see what that looks like at a distance. It's because what I've done is I've put something on the floor here that I need to move off the table. So I put it down and I've got to step over that and I keep kicking the loft ladders. If I was sensible enough, it would just go underneath the table, but I'm not. So I'm just going to keep doing it all video. So that is what this is now looking like. So we've got, there we go, that's that box. All of this into the front of this. We can put something there. And then I guess we can get it going down. T-shape, that disappears, and then we move on. Probably the best place for it for now, unless you can think of anywhere else where this thing can go. The only thing that potentially would work maybe a little bit better is if the cabin swapped with the haunted house. So the cabin was almost hidden by all the trees, and then the haunted house had the queue line to the ride underneath the Stranger Things. I think that would probably be the better option, because as it stands right now, we can't create a queue line for the haunted house, or we just move some of the trees in front of that so it's hidden, and then we can just create a queue line where it is. So it's not exactly end of the world, is it? So that's created absolutely no space whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spend about 20 minutes throwing some bits and pieces out the way, and then we can really crack on with the Ninjago display. Right, today is a new day. So I do believe we were going to start with the Ninjago yesterday and are out of time. So here we go. So what the plan of attack is, like I said, is to get these into different configurations now. I have just done a magazine video. Now something I need to consider is the magazine is exactly this width, so I can still film on this size table, and then we have the side drops and the back drops of different bits and pieces. Obviously I did say what I will be doing is I've got the 55cm tables in the unboxing area which need to be rebuilt. They can just live underneath this table, then I can just pull them out and do them on that. So it's not the end of the world, so that does not matter too much. And as of today, the UCS Razor Quest is £275 in a sale. That is phenomenal saving. So the big version of that thing over there at John Lewis right now has 27% off, and I think it's 25% off the Falcon, which takes that down to around the 540 mark as well. Useless information for anybody watching this, because the sale would have finished and it would have sold out by the time this gets uploaded. But there are massive, massive sales to be had, so don't just keep looking at the Lego website. There's sales all over the place. So what I was going to do is I was going to make some room over there, and I didn't. And now I can't be bothered. So we are just going to move, slide and grind all of these about, and then I can start attacking some space on the floor. So if I put you there, I think that is going to be a bird's eye view for you. Now what I want to do to start with is, obviously we're going to go for 3 or 4 different options, and I need to take photos as we go. But the first thing I want to try is possibly the most simple one. He says as the top of the back just falls completely off, is to spin the dock around and put it to the edge of that table. Ooh, right. So that is option number, well, it's half of option number 1, basically, because obviously, yes, I know you eagle-eyed viewers, that is missing. Do you want to know the reason why that bit is missing currently? Because I did an unboxing video for everybody, because I am nice, and I got this out from the side, compared it to the Lego City, and then when I went to move it forward to show somebody something, I think I moved it forward to show off those bits and pieces. The nice, beautiful middle piece wasn't clipped on, and it went straight down the loft ladders. And it didn't just go down the loft ladders, it hit every single step. It then started, some of it got stuck on top of the wardrobe, and I'm still finding pieces all this time later. It's a nightmare. It just, yeah, one of them. So that is what that is going to look like. Now we have got options, obviously. So the key thing is, and I think it is quite clear to see, that this table is easily 4 base plates wide, because what we've got to take into consideration is the next base plate. So I need to grab another base plate. Ignore anything and everything that you are looking at with regards to what is on those base plates. This is solely for the next Ninjago bit. Now that will fit without having to move anything up top, as long as we have it to the left hand side. that will fit like so. Now it's not going to be perfectly center, but it will fit. So do we think the docks and the new one will work like that? Because if we have that like that, now there is options, again actually, in fact thinking about it, we can potentially just do that. Because the dock on the back of the city does connect. So it is linked with water. So if you go through here, the water actually does wrap around the back. This is such a beautiful set. And then you can see it does connect through. So you can just have almost like a dead end that way. And then potentially we could just build up a little bit of water just here if we needed to. But that is what that would look like in that corner. Now, I don't know if that works because this back bit is lost. But we are creating its own walkway and city. Now, that is if we put the water on the inside. I think it makes sense spinning it round and seeing the buildings on this, even though we've got the stairs and everything up. But that already, almost like by mistake, we do have a staircase up into the marble section. And so there is options there. It's just, I don't know how much this will cover for the new one on that without really seeing it too much. But that is option number 1. Now option number 2, or we'll say we'll carry on with an extended version of option number 1, and then I'll turn the camera off and just take a load of photos, as I am in the process of dragging more and more minifigures out and then starting to put them on the base plates to keep them together. Now the other plan, now I don't think these are going to work forward facing. I mean, they might, because you could, if you wanted to, have it with a narrow street, and I mean a narrow street. So we got that, which you're not going to see anything of across the back because they're just too big, they're just too tall, not going to work like that, which is a little bit of a shame. So that one is scrapped off. Does look smart like that. Now the next thing we can do is, because you can design and display these multiple ways, is we can spin them around. Now we can have them touching tips and have it back to back. Now I'm hoping we can have these back to back. I don't think I've ever tried it. Do they line up? Ouch, not very well. Something's clearly in the way, but they should line up. Now they're not perfect because this is too high for that. If I push them together, that will be touching. They are level, and that is what that looks like from the middle. So I have seen a lot of people have these back to back. I think, to be honest, it's just that not clipped in properly. But again, this one I can't finish because I am missing the internal bags of the last couple of set numbers. So I need to go on Bricklink because I tried through the Lego customer service. They are good as gold, but they just send me the bags again. They don't send me the internals, they just send me the missing bits. It's very weird. So that is what that looks like. Now if you can imagine, we can then have a strip around the front and bits and pieces on going down the side. Now I'm pretty sure that is awful because it's just too close and tight together. But can we, if we use the docks as an example, so we just get the gardens out the way, can we have this kicking off there? So that would have to come in on itself, like so, and that would go like that. And again, it's all different options for different things, and just seeing how we can utilize the space the best, because we know it's 4 base plates wide, so we know that we can do something like this on the other side. Now we've got the different heights with that, so we've obviously got the big height. It's not really meant to go that way, but it does kind of work because you've got the dot. You can just then walk down, walk across this bit, go onto the water, and then the water kicks off and kicks out the other end. Now obviously these can come right to the front, or they get pushed back a little bit. And then in fact, if we push that back first, how much space do we have? So that went back to there, that went back to there. So that is that. That's how that works. That is what that looks like. Now don't forget, we can add in the shrine on this side if need be. So we can stagger these two. Now do we think that works like that? Because I think the second this one gets slid into position, I am not 100% sure that we have. Oh, do not want to do that. They can all stay on there. Thank you very much indeed. Don't fall off. Don't fall off. Hulk fell off. Right, so that is a base plate. That tucks to there. If that does fit, just doesn't look right. It's just too crowded. It's just too crowded, isn't it? It looks quite nice like that. Visually, it's very, very different. I suppose. It's also, I always do this on the fly. I always do this with you and just look stupid. So it's always entertaining. I am assuming that you guys and girls are probably screaming, saying, "Why don't I just flip them?" So the two bigger ones on the outer edges look nice. Now there is other options that we did in the last upload, as well as obviously what I want to do, because we had them really wide to start with. And then what we did is we created a bit more of a line. I've got to put that in there. I've got to put this one in the corner anyway. But I just wonder if we flip those two around, put that one to the edge and have two base plates going down that way, would have the two smaller ones back to back, the height. And then that might open it up from the outer edge, because I don't like the fact that it's just too clumped in the middle. I think they swallow each other, and they obviously hide the Joker at the back, and it's too much. It's just too busy. But I don't know. I wonder. So if I move this over, and we'll see what is going on with that. Now I'm just listening to a car alarm in the distance, and I'm wondering if it's mine. But it's gone off. So it's either one or two things. Either my truck's just been stolen, or it was somebody else's. So let's just hope it was somebody else's, and we won't worry too much. Now, to get it back into the configuration that it was originally, it was like this with an overhang. And the overhang was a big overhang. So we have got the options like so. So the cool thing is, like I've said a couple of times, is that what that looks like from the back? Because you've got all of the dock and the dock and the dock and the dock and the dock. That's a really, really cool thing, because the City has the dock, and then obviously you can mix and match this. You can spin this multiple ways and do whatever it is that you want to do. So you can just have that one on the outer edge like so, or you can just spin it around that way. So we have the corner, which I think it facing in is the better option, because it just looks nice, because you've got the skateboard, you've got the nice telephone, you can see all these bits and pieces. Basically I can see everything on the front, because the side here just opens up to the back. So there is a lot of detail in the back. I know you can see it down there, but it's something that you can go sneaking for. Now what we did with the other one is we had this again, we started off to the back and it didn't work, so we had it facing that way. And then what we did, we spun it all the way in, like so. And then we did that. Now there's a big problem with that, which you will notice that in a second. But that was option number one, which instantly does look very, very nice. Now, that works, apart from the other set is too big, because we don't have two base plate space. So we have got options with regards to what we do with the new set if we like this configuration. So I'm going to turn you off for a second, take a photo, so because I'm going to do a poll, and then I carry on moving the stuff. So it's been taken, so in case you are confused, this is the issue. Now we have got options with regards to this. So this is how this would physically have to go. It would just be like that. That would be the new set, and then we have an L shape of different bits and pieces. Now what you've got to remember, in case you are new to the channel, and everybody that has subscribed to the channel recently, welcome. So if you have just jumped into this absolute disaster piece, thank you very much indeed. Now, this Ninjago boat, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful looking thing, that was here. and it worked well. So this white space is gone. So we have 2 base plates. Now we don't have 2 base plates, we have a base plate because we've only got that space left. So that is the option for that. Now I need to make sure that as I find the figures, I need to put them back in the correct place. Now, I don't know if that's going to work. So the other option that we've got to create a sort of angle is we do this. So we instantly create a much shorter, or should I say narrower, city. And you can see what that'll be like. Now, I put the boat there for you to get a visual thing, but then that does mean we do this and we do this. Now, the second we do that, that is where the new set goes. And then that leaves us, again, a base plate and a little bit for anything that is new. Just don't know if I like it like that. That is the only thing, because I think it looks smart with regards to what you can do and how you can put the boat. But I just don't know if it's just too tight together. It's just a shame that you can't do what you want to do with these. So again, the other option is that one went there as an L and you had space there, or instantly it comes straight back over like so, and then it is like that. So I am very stuck with this at the moment. The other option is I eat into the room a little bit more and get another table which I think would fit, and basically use the other table instead of the smaller tables as my unboxing videos. So I would just be basically sat here rather than sat here, which isn't going to make too much of a difference, and then just use half a base plate overhang to go onto the next table. That really shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's just depending on this nonsense that's on the floor and if that table will fit between there. Because if it fits in there, I can just put it in there and that is absolutely fine, because this table here will need to come in and come back out again. It would just mean it's going to be a little bit of a pig to set up the lights, but it would also mean it would create a stagger. Now what I mean by a stagger is you've got to think that that is 1, 2, that would be 3. So we would be here. So that's where that unit would be. And then it leaves all of that in the middle for bits and pieces. So I'm going to take a photo of the other layout with the boat in, and then you guys and girls can start to vote. And before I move it, that is what it looks like with the boat. It is a very big thing. Now the boat obviously gets pushed all the way back. We've got a little bit for here, and then this just comes over to here. And then that is what that looks like. So instantly, obviously, we're creating this really nice area. I mean, it looks beautiful like that. You can get some really nice photos from here. It's just, I think that side of the table might potentially be a bit of a disaster. But from here, as you pan up and come over, I think it's a nice thing, because we're creating that alleyway like we did basically from the Harry Potter. That's where we got that inspiration from. But again, I just don't know. I just don't know what to think with that, because I'm worrying about the double base plates on the left. But I'll get a photo of this and then we'll crack on. So the next option, next thing we need to think about is maybe the maybe the boat placement. I'm not taking any of this out, it's all raw. It's all raw, this is what the series is all about. Now, do I have the boot on the opposite side? Now, if I did that, obviously the boat would need to go with this. It has to go on this side. So the two options are, we move the city to the left, we spin the city in on itself, we spin and the dock basically stays the same, and the back of the dock faces that way, and then the boat is to the back of it, or we spin that back round and then put the water on this side, so we go big set boat roller coaster. And we don't have the boat in the middle, and then that way we have it all moving around. Now there are other options. There are a couple of other things that we can do. So I don't know whether to try and get the units placed best first, or we put the boat in the other place. Because the other thing that we can do is potentially have a big unit at the back left, paired up with a smaller unit to the right, and then we have a big unit at the front right with a smaller unit going across the left, which then leaves the space in the middle, which potentially could be the boat. I think we're going to have a problem with the sails on that one, or it leaves space for the other set. So I really don't know which way to go. I just want to get this looking spot on, because I think the colours on these are absolutely beautiful. So what I was just saying, I don't know which way would be the easiest to move it around without actually smashing anything. So if we had, because that one's already in place, so we just left that one there. We could potentially have this one like there. And this is all if, buts and maybes, mind. All if, buts and maybes, which, to be honest, that in that corner isn't actually as bad as what I thought it was going to be. So that's in that corner, so you can see hopefully what I'm about to do now. So that goes in that corner, that goes in this corner, which then means the new set comes off in front of the Joker, but it's lower. And then this one comes in front. I think it might leave a bit of a zigzag, but I don't know if it's going to eat into too much of the table. Now again, because we have got multiple options with regards to what way these face, the only thing I can think of is that if this wasn't pushed all the way to the front of the table, what we might be able to do is have the boat in front of the city and the docks, and then have it maybe the other way. So let's have a look. So this is everything facing forward. We do everything facing forward to start with. No, I know it's not the correct way, because the city, see, it looks like it's perfect, which it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. But for it to connect properly, it now actually needs to spin round that way. And then this then connects up perfectly, because he does not want to be damaging that boat like that. So I'll get this out the way like so. That goes like that. And that is that. So we can have it like that. So we've got the length. And then we have the other one with the length. And the problem is we've got a small gap there for a boat, which is not going to work. But we have got 3 base plates of space over there. But there is option number 3, doing it that way. I think that's... I don't know if that works or not, to be honest. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard until the other one's in. It is really, really difficult to see. Because obviously, as it stands right now, we have the dock just there. Now, if we have it how it should be, with that parked up outside the dock, you can't get the next set in, and you can't get the next set going down that way. But that is what that would look like with a boat behind it, and it looks like a proper city. Because the sail, to be honest, isn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be with it being there. Now, the only other option is I spin them round and I have the boat at the front of the table. So the dock comes round like this. So we have all the water facing us. Now, obviously, for that to work, this then needs to be spun completely the wrong way, which I think, to be honest, is the least attractive way for this set. It's got a lot of detail on the back, but the problem is you just look at the back end of every single building. So for that to work, we have to look at the back, and that actually faces the wrong way, which I don't think is going to work, because what I could have done is just push that back ever so slightly, brought the boat in front of it, and then it would have come through. But I already think that is the wrong way. But what I will do is I'll take another photo of this spun round how it just was, and that will be option 3. But personally, I really don't think that's going to work. So that photo is taken. Now, obviously, we tried it, the big ones at the front, and they didn't work. But I've never yet tried it with the big ones at the back, at each corner. And then we might be able to have the strip of the smaller ones at the front, because that's something I've not even attempted. So I could try that next, and I think that would be option number 4. And then you guys and girls are going to have to let me know what other ways there are of doing it, because don't forget, Ninjago have just dropped the bombshell of some of the newer sets as well. So if realistically we have to go over this way, we have to come over this way ever so slightly, and we can just start to wrap the roller coaster around in the Ninjago section. And obviously straight away what we'd have to do, I say straight away, we would have to leave space straight away. You don't have to buy sets straight away, we've got plenty of time to buy them, would be the new Monkey Kid theme park set with the Ferris wheel, because that would look nice in front of that coaster. I don't want things too big in front of that coaster. Try and do what I'm doing with the Ninjago in front of the Joker. I want to have levels. I don't want everything to be the same height, so that's why we've put the firehouse over on that side. I think everything else across the back does work well. And I think we did say in this upload that potentially we could just put the Ferris wheel there and move that. But, you know, that's different days for a completely different problem. But I knew this was going to take some time. Didn't realise it was going to take this amount of time, but I don't mind at all. And I'm pretty sure we did all of this, didn't we, at the start of this one? We put the A-frame cabin in there, and then that is what that looks like. So obviously I've not touched any of that. And yes, this is the one where we moved the fan. But what's happened in 24 hours of my life? It is what it is. Now, we know they look better facing inwards than they do facing outwards. So all I've got to do is spin the city back round on itself and put it in the back corner. Then move this over to where that one is, put 2 base plates down where that is, and then I think we might actually have space for the boat and that configuration. Maybe. We'll see. Let's have a look. Let's do it. Let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. So I'm saying it out loud. I might as well just crack on and do it and just see which is the best way to do it. Because all we need is a base plate. So again, this would then spin back around that way, which I think is the better looking way for this set. Hopefully you guys and girls will agree. Now, to get the boat in this way, I might have to move that little baby Ferris wheel, which is not going to be a problem. But if I can keep it to a table to start with, we'll keep it to a table to start with. And then we have got a bit of wiggle room by a couple of base plates if we need it. Now, what am I hitting? I do not want to damage this set. It's far too valuable and I love it too much. Now, that's what that looks like. So we've got big one on that side, big one on that side. This then instantly would come... Come on. This would instantly then do this. And then you can see you've got water on the water, so potentially it could go just like that, which is not the way it's supposed to go. I know it's not the way it's supposed to go, but then we have the fascia on the front, and then we have the fascia of the other one, and the boat would fit in there, and that gives us teeny tiny amount of room for stuff. So that would be, that base plate goes there. It's base plate number 1, base plate number 2. So that would kiss there. That would that actually fit? Yes, it does. The boat does fit at the angle. It's a bit tight. I know it's a bit tight, but we could just put water around, and then we have got a bit of space because that is linked with that little gap for whatever, and then that links over. But this could be the bit that moves, so we could actually open this up ever so slightly and just start at the edge there, which would then probably, in fact, it would give us enough space to add in the Zane Memorial, because obviously we need half a base plate for that. So don't forget, we need to find the width of this, which we can easily do with, well, in fact, it is that space anyway. So we'd move that over, get that in, and then we'd still have that space for whatever. I do not know at the moment. To be honest, from here, there's actually quite a lot you can do, isn't there? Because if we spun that, can we spin that? No, we can't. Because of how that flower is, that would have to go that way. So you have the big bit over there, but that won't touch. So with the docks, it can only go a couple of different ways. It could go side on. But to go side on, it would need to go hole to hole, because these do have the hole pins on the side, and we are not showing the hole pins on that side. So I've got a funny feeling this then hits the really nice blossom tree at the top. So we can't do that either way. So we can't do it as that configuration. So that's a bit of a shame, because that potentially would free up some more space. And we know that that would just overhang the table ever so slightly, because that is what the first one did. So I'll take a picture of option number 4. I'm still as confused as what I was probably 25 minutes ago. So I am starting to dribble a little bit. But the good thing is that this video is going to go live before this actually goes anywhere. And the poll will go up before it goes anywhere as well. And then you guys and girls can basically let me know exactly what is what and what you think is the best way. So if I spin this back round how it was, which was like that, wasn't it? And I take a photo, tidy it up a little bit, take a photo of option number 4. Obviously, with the bit in the middle built. What do we think? Let me know in that comment section as we go. Do you prefer option number 1, 2, 3, or this one for number 4? Now, I have just taken that photo, as you do, and I've just noticed something. Where the boat is, it's 2 base plates, isn't it? So could we have both of the sets facing in on each other, which I know it's not the way it's designed to be, and then have the new set in the middle, and then have the dock as it is? Or we could, with a bit of manipulation, have it straight. Now let's give that a go. This is now a bonus option number 5. Before I figure out what else I want to be doing, figure out how long this upload has actually been, and then I want to crack on with tidying up all around by the roller coaster, and then we can see exactly what is what. So if this just moves completely out the way like so, and the new one slotted into there and into there, which I think it would do. We just need to get this over. I think it will. I'll put it there for now, as I'm actually still holding the boot, which is not exactly ideal, but that would be like that. Now I know we seem to be losing more and more space doing things like this rather than having it the other way, but that is the boat. So the boat looks lost. Everything else looks all right. So this is now where potentially this boat, completely by mistake, might go there. It might literally sit where that Ferris wheel is. I'll tell you what, it's going to be close. If that can fit where that Ferris wheel is, and then we can get the new set there, it means we have got 2.5 base plates of space for the newer bit. But it just depends on what we think looks better. Do we prefer the back end of this, or do we like the front, or vice versa? I don't think it's going to work that way. That is the only problem. So we really can only get it in the one way, because it's a shame, like I said, it can't go, because if it went that way, well, we've got 3 base plates of space, which is a huge amount of space. Do I try it? Do I try and get that boat in that gap? What do we reckon? Do we reckon that boat will fit in that gap? It's an area that I was going to start working on, so we will see. We'll see exactly what is all about. And like I said, I do want to have a quick go at that Spider-Man thing in this upload, and then we can just carry on with something else. I've got a very funny feeling that is the exclusive chef from the Lego house in Billund as well. Now I need to move everything. This is. I don't think I've ever moved a set so many times in a row, and it's not actually smashed yet. Now that is definitely a recipe for disaster, me saying that out loud, but at the same time, quite proud of myself, so that's not too bad. Right, this is where the boat now gets dropped clean on the floor. Will this fit? Big boat. Will this fit in this gap? Because if this fits in this gap, which if you remember rightly, I did say potentially, oh no, I don't want to do that, uh-oh. I'm so stupid. Try and move 2 things at the same time. Don't do what I do and move stuff. You just end up spending the rest of your life repairing everything. Now, will it go? Will the sails work? Will it fit? Oh, please, go on. Go on. Oh, well, that was meant to be. That is absolutely to the stud perfect. So we can just put a little bit of water around that. That can sit on some water. And then we can figure out exactly what we want to do. Because if we want it this way, then the boat can obviously come a little bit further forward. If we want it side on how it was, does it look silly or does it work? Can't remember which way it was. That way. No, I don't want to be doing stuff like that. That's how easy I end up losing stuff. So if that was if that was like that, the boat parks beside it. Now I think I might actually just be able to flip the sails round so we could see the sails, but I think that could potentially work like that. I mean, that clearly doesn't work there, nor does that, but obviously they're going over into this section. So we have technically now just gained 2.5 base plates of space, I think. I don't think that looks too bad at all. I'll take a photo of that, and I don't know if I can add the 5th option in the poll, which would be a little bit annoying. So you might not be able to vote for one of them. I might take the worst one out, which I think is possibly the last one. This, space-wise, gives us the most. And don't forget we've got the new sets that will potentially be coming as well. But visually, does it work? So let me tidy it up, and I'll show you what I mean. So that is it tidied up. You can see what I mean about that in the middle. However, I can't take the photo of it like this. It is off by 1 strip of studs. Now, the annoying thing is that the coaster is touching that side. The boat can't move over at all. This is touching the boat, and that is actually overhanging by a stud and touching that bit as well. And I need to find half a stud in width. So if I can find half a stud in width without something going smash, I can take the photo, but I don't think I can move it over. I've just moved the boat over a little bit more, but I just don't know if this is going to work. Is that going to go? Is that going to go? No, we're level at the back. We're twisted at the front. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. We're in. We're in. Happy days. So we've done it. So that is in. So we are there. So just need a bit of a twist. So it's just been an absolute melon. So that is clearly 2 base plates. That would be where the new one goes. Would that look nice between those 2 sets? And then we have all of this space for more Ninjago bits and pieces. Now again, don't forget, this can be spun around, just be put straight into the middle, have the other bits and pieces around either side. It doesn't necessarily have to connect to the city. So if we were, for example, to do that for whatever reason, bring it forward, not that that is actually going to work whatsoever, that makes no sense. We've got a path behind it which makes no sense at all, because that all needs to be water, but you can see the space that we've got. So I think potentially this needs to be in a line. I think that might be the best way of doing it, and I think that tree is actually on a ball joint, so I might be able to raise that up. Oh, I can. He can. So can I now get that in and spun in, or do we still have problems? Oh, we're going to hit the barrier, aren't we? So it doesn't make a difference, because we're going to hit the barrier. That is not going to work. But what I have done is I think it allows us to go kissing at the front, and it just adds a little bit. So I've gained nothing wasting your time doing that. Absolutely nothing. Apart from that is what that looks like. That. So I'll take a photo of this, see what we think of this. But I'm pretty sure you guys and girls probably think the first 2 options are the best, where we can actually create streets. Because if we did that, the boat could stay where it was, and that would free up the space in the middle. So we basically do what we did at the very, very beginning, but put the boat there, not there. Right, okay. Photo has been taken. Now, I guess it's very much depends on, do you want to see the boat or not? I think that's what it's going to come down to, because if I was to bring that one further forward again and that one further forward again, we could have the 2 base plates behind it, like we said we're going to. We have got, obviously, the Zane shrine that we need to fit in. So all I'm going to do anyway is put it back to how it was to start with, because I can just utilise the space for now. And then in a week or 2, when this video goes live, I can then put it to the way you think looks best. But I can keep the boat there. So well, I'm not wasting my time, because I actually do need to configure it potentially this way anyway. If this got pulled back out, and this got pulled back out, and this went to the front, like so, and the dock, well, the dock spun round and faced as a dock, because that would make sense, because the actual dock part of the dock was facing, so it's all water. So this comes out, overhangs over slightly. So that, because don't forget, that is also an option. In fact, I didn't even think about that. That configuration is an option. Where we've got, that goes back and that goes back. Did anybody even think of that option? Do we have it as an L? That might look nice. And then we got all of this space for other stuff. Big one at the back. I did say one at the front, one at the back, but we just didn't angle it this way. Now we just haven't tried it with the boat tucked in there, but I don't think the boat looks lost there. I think it looks part of that theming for the roller coaster. The only thing if we did that is it kind of ruins the idea of putting that set close to it, so we might have to rehome this. And I think it kind of makes sense now, maybe putting some smaller rides, especially from where this bit is across. So say say a 32 by 32 and a 16 by 32 base plate for smaller bits and pieces, maybe having some more of the spring lantern theming. But that possibly could be the best way of doing it, because I think it, with that one goes in there, it's not going to be horrifically high. I'm just hoping, but the problem is the second, if the back gets covered and it is really, really tall, I am just envisioning where you've got the two buildings connecting, where it goes down on that piece, that we can actually see the back of the Joker, and I think it would look nice. So we've got 3 base plates now. Three more base plates of space, say 2.5, because that is now our Zane. Now with the Zane shrine, it does mean we've got different options, because if we did that, we could then potentially have something else in front of it. We've got the option of the waterfall. Yeah, we have got quite a few. We've got quite a few options. So I'll take a photo of this. I can leave it like this, and this is how it would be left, because I can work in this space. I can still do shorts and stuff on this space and do other little bits and pieces. So I'll take a photo of this, and then we'll actually start adding some of the smaller bits and pieces in, and then see what you guys and girls think. So that's what that looks like stood back from further afield, and I think that does look quite nice. But I think we're going to have some options with regards to what we can put where for the other sets. Now, we have got the things to the left-hand side to potentially add, and I just don't know how it's going to work, because this thing is part of this thing. Now, this thing goes just there. Now that, because it's so small, is not going to get lost whatsoever, and I think that looks very, very cute there. Now, again, obviously it's Zane's memorial, spoiler, but I need to find those 2 pieces because they've been knocked off. This is all fully complete, but that would work just like that. So that is the full thing complete, because if you didn't realise, this was that size. So it's a base plate and a half, base plate plus half a base plate, 2 base plates. Nice and confusing. Now that leads us to the waterfall, because you can have the waterfall. Clearly not going to work that way, but will it work if we spin it round? If that went there to the back, does that look all right? Does that work? Does that feed in? Can we have that just there? Because again, that still leaves us, well, technically it's 3 base plates still, because we've got half a base plate, and then this overhang is going to be a full base plate and a full base plate. So we have got quite a lot of space. Not that we need to fill it, because I can just put the laptop there and leave a bit of white and actually have a purpose-built area where I can put the laptop, do the live streams up here if I ever need to, and then just take it back. Because as it stands right now, I can actually open up a magazine in that gap and everything else would be okay. Now, again, looking at around, we are missing some bits and pieces. So we need the spring lantern set, which is a base plate and a half. So potentially that can go in there, or that spring lantern set is the bit that goes just here on this side. I think maybe that would be a better place for it to be put. We can put that behind the city, and that would look very, very sweet. So we'll put that there in a little bit. We'll make some space. We'll carry on tidying up, putting the minifigures on where they need to go. And I think we might be laughing with that. So with regards to options and visual, I think this gives us the most of everything. That's the first time that that has actually been seen and looks okay. And you can see everything from that side, and you can see everything from that side. I will repair the bit in the middle. The dock is facing the dock, so we're happy with that. And in all fairness, actually, the dock is facing both bits right. So you can see here, if you were to be really funny about things, the boat would go through and it'll get onto the dock, no problem. But it goes under that gap. Now, we have got options, obviously, to carry it on, because the waterfall is feeding the bits and pieces in. Don't forget, it's supposed to be a big theme park, so it's all everything with a pinch of salt. But I just want every single table to be right, because when it gets tiled, it won't get touched for months and months. But it just seems to be, I keep chasing my tail, because by the time I get around to doing it, Lego release something absolutely amazing, and then we can't do anything about it. Whereas at the moment, we're all up to date with the Marvel. That's it. That's done for now. We're not going to do anything else with that. That can just get tiled. We're laughing. We have got one or two options with regards to those buildings up at the top. Now, we have got the Natural History Museum. And this is something that I do want to speak about in the next upload. The Natural History Museum potentially could just go where the Joker is. And then the Joker just gets moved. And then we put the smaller Ferris wheel, which is the one that we've just moved. So that one just over there. We put that quite close to the Natural History Museum. And then we have a battle. We have the battle back going around all of it, because you're going to now see straight through that gap. Because I don't know if really the Joker hides everything behind it. So as it stands at the moment, we'll keep it there. But we have got options with regards to just putting the Joker back over to this side, putting the Natural History Museum when it's built, because it'd be smaller than that, back on that space, which will then give us an opportunity to recreate a really nice battleground for everything. I think we can then use the roof of the Natural History Museum for different bits and pieces, and then we can fill that up with the smaller rides, which would make sense if it's just a Ferris wheel. Then we've got all the actors and everything walking around, because I just don't know if that takes up too much, not too much space, because obviously it is what it is, but if it blocks the view behind it, because it looks beautiful there. But I think maybe if we put the big bit back in here and we put the Natural History Museum with it, I don't think it matters if we block a little bit of the History Museum off, because I don't think it's as attractive as the Joker Manor. He says without building it, I don't know. So maybe that'll be tomorrow's thing. Maybe that could be tomorrow's live on a table that I don't have up here for any space. Anyway, so that is where we're at the moment for the Ninjago. So now what we need to do is I'll take a photo. Do I need to take a photo of that? I think I've already taken a photo of that, so I don't need to take a photo of that. I need to change the battery on this because I've been talking far too long. I want to tidy up this corner here, figure out what we're going to do from there, and then that gives us a good starting point for the next upload. New battery is in. I've cheated ever so slightly because I've just sent out a couple of taster photos to a few people that I trust very, very nicely, and they all agree with me that I think the 6th option is the best option. I didn't say that was my favourite, mine, that's what they got back to me with, because it opens up the back the most. Now, obviously, with that new set going in, I think it should be fine. I now really am favouring moving the Joker Manor over to this side, so it gives us our larger roller coaster with our DC bits and pieces, and then just adding in the smaller Ferris wheel within this section, even though that looks absolutely outstanding from the front. I think if we got that and positioned this in a way where you can just see it from maybe behind, so it's either facing this way or it's facing forward, so you can really see it nicely, or even if it's at the same angle as the shadow box. Anything doing that, then you're not going to be able to see the shadow box, which is a little bit of a pain in the backside. But we have got a huge amount of space over to the left hand side, so as it stands right now, we've got options for moving that, but that can stay where it is because it's a nice backdrop until this actually comes out the box and gets built, which I am now itching to start. So it just means that we can move it around a little bit, because obviously then when that's actually in, I can get all of those minifigures in the right place, because they were supposed to be part of a battle scene that we now can't do. Well, we can do, but we're just not going to be able to see it. But I think having all the roads and everything around that way and just seeing it all visually would work a little bit better, even though that Joker Manor set is stunning. Now, the only other option is, and I don't know if it will fit, is we put the Joker Manor up on the shelf. So we always see it, and it goes smack in the middle. Now that is a big ask, and that is a big move. What we gain from that is visually we've got the Joker Manor up high and we can see it, so it's never going to be hidden. I then can't reach the minifigures. I have to climb up onto a table. The bat wing might look perfect behind the manor, so that could work. We gain the police station for a display. We gain maybe the restaurant for a display. And we've got a above the city roller coaster. Space for space, it's not going to make any difference. It's just going to be visual. But I just don't know how many base plates that's going to take up. And again, then what I'd have to do is I have to move that little end game battle, which is hiding the brick. The assembly square comes over as far as it can, and then I find something else to go in there. That is not happening in this upload. It's not, because I know this video is going to be hours long, and I can just do that next. So what we're going to focus on, I shouldn't have said that out loud, because I think that might look really nice. No, it's happening today, but not in this upload. We're going to do a downtown China. So the downtown China area is this area just here. Now, what we are going to work our way to is the front. And I think once this sort of corner zone has been tidied up, which I'm not going to bore you with, I will do this myself, we can then tuck straight into that. I'm looking at that more and more going, that would work really well up there. Natural History Museum below, all the battle, all the minifigures go in. And then we can carry on with our modular street coming off and over, because we were going to put that, I suppose actually it doesn't now make a difference, because if I put the Joker Manor, see how I get sidetracked? So if I was to put the Joker Manor up high, the units that come down would just go in the Joker Manor's position, or they just come over to this side. I think visually it might look a little bit better. We had the brand new one facing forward. They do use a lot of art stuff in the Ninjago sets as well. Ah, nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. It's going to be at least 2 or 3. I might get these videos uploaded earlier, and then you can be with me. What do I do that live? Oh, can you imagine trying to move that live? Maybe do it live. Well, we'll see. So downtown, let's get on with this. Let's get this moved and see what it looks like. Right, there we go. I said I was going to make a bit of space, and I've done exactly the minimal requirement to get that in. Now, the reason is I've just remembered why we have all these minifigures all over the place, and it is actually because I got them all out for a live to make a diorama. And then we thought that would look really nice there, which it does. But every single minifigure that's over there and every single minifigure that's down here, we were going to use as a big battle. That is why they're on the table. I did wonder why there were so many over there, and it is for that reason. So what I'm going to do is we're going to see if we can just place this at the right angle and shape. So the cool thing is it only overhangs the city by a stud or two, and if we obviously wanted to line that up, I can just pull this back ever so slightly, so that will work absolutely fine. I don't think the boat will it go back? Oh, well. Oh, well, hang on. Could not have asked for a better thing. That is exact to the stud, and that is all the way back. So that is taking up the minimal requirement of space. It does look like it's parked up at the dock. Obviously, if this was spun so it's dock on dock, it works perfectly fine. They think this is probably the best minifigure scale boat. This thing has so much display space, and we can add in loads of minifigures on there, so that is good. Now, with regards to this, we've got to figure out which way it faces. Now, there is obviously another half a base plate to add on to this, but they're not massively high. So this will lead us on to maybe having the 5th anniversary Ninjago set Ferris wheel just around here. So potentially it could go just here. This could then just go there. It's not really going to make too much of a difference because you've got the roller coaster behind it. It gives us that level of different bits and pieces to do. Now, before we wrap up and finish, what I actually need to do is find the other part of that display, because I'm ashamed to say, well, it's actually no surprise, and I'm not really ashamed. It got dropped behind the back of that table when we're doing something, and I've got a funny feeling that I've just been standing on it and not realising, and it's in quite a lot of pieces, I think. So we only have that other Monkey Kid set there. Now, I don't know if we feed the waterfall in on that side as well. So don't forget, there is options where potentially he says, that we have a Monkey Kid section. Because I've always said it'd be nice to have one, but I just don't know if that will work like that. I think that's just going to hide the boat. That's just going to look dreadful. So no, that's not going to work. The waterfall could go at the far end where the carousel is, and it faces inwards for a little bit of height. And then we don't have the waterfall in the Ninjago zone, because actually thinking about it, there is a new waterfall-esque thing, isn't there? So if that is, which I do believe it is, a base plate wide, it's there or thereabouts. It's not fully complete because they had those weird things that added on to the side. He says those weird things as he panics to look for them. Moved one before. Where have I put that? It's a extra piece with a little bit of water coming off it. You would have seen it somewhere. So that does give me the option maybe to add that in there. All I've got to do then is move the big carousel over ever so slightly, which is absolutely fine. And then we've got a thin, basically I just want a 32 by 32 strip maybe of a downtown. That's all that needs to be. It's not eating into this table really, because it's, what, 6 studs in. Not to moving the Star Wars. So Star Wars is done, we're happy with that. That needs to be tweaked. DC, we've not even touched. Yeah, and then this is looking nice. Well, I think it looks nice anyway. This is exactly what I want the rest of the room to look like, minus the base plates missing. Now, again, we know roughly where we're going to be getting to with the castle, and I do believe we're talking about the castle. Those images did come out. That's a long time ago, it feels like, but I have done some videos on those, and they do look incredible. It does look very, very good indeed. So they are releasing a lot of different sets, but I think maybe what we need to do is just focus on Ninjago and the Monkey Kid, get this area done, or we focus on the Star Wars section, because Marvel is, well, that's all done at the moment, so we can mess around with that. But what I mean from a purchasing point of view, and then we can see exactly what's what. So I will now crawl underneath, well, this table here, which I'm not going to bore you with because there's a lot of mess behind there. Get that bit in, get that waterfall in, get that moved over, and then we'll wrap it up on that. Then I'm going to grab a bite to eat. Then I'm going to start the next bit where I am actually going to move the Joker Manor up to see what it looks like, and the tiers that will be involved in that, because I've got to climb up all of these tables. And at least that way, if it's up there and it works, I don't have to worry about it. But I just don't know if the roller coaster track will fit on the back of the shelf. But we'll worry about that on the next upload. We'll carry on focusing on this. So I will grab the next piece that is missing and get that moved. Oh dear, spot what is missing. It was where I thought it was, and it is the set I've been standing on. So all of those pieces are somewhere on the floor behind that box, and I've got quite a lot of stuff underneath there, which I am in the process of sorting out. But I've got to pull it all out to sort it out, to then put it back in again, to sort it out, to put it back in. So that is actually the next table that I was going to attack. So that is absolutely fine. Now, because it is here, what I did forget about is that we've only got a little bit of footpath at the front. So yes, this is supposed to be all complete, and it is an absolute shambles. So it clearly cannot go there, because that is obviously the seats and the marquee. Waterfall's in, so that looks nice there. I've got to figure out if we want that side on, if you want it forward facing, or does it even go there whatsoever. So I think what we're going to have to do before we wrap this little part up is see what that looks like that. So this can go, if I move that up, we can get that underneath, and we can get that there. So it can be touched, and it just means I can't work the chain, but I never work the chain anyway, so it doesn't matter whatsoever. So we have options. Like I said, if we can just have it there. It can basically go where it was, and then that just connects in. And then you've got the walkway all the way across the front, which potentially makes sense. The only thing is I am concerned about is that will then block off the queue line, and then we can figure out what we're going to do with that. And then that gives us a small little area just there. And then everything from here in this gap, which is going to get attacked now, sooner rather than later, with this hopefully a little move, it means I can actually start putting the minifigures where they need to go. But let me know what you think of the downtown, well, it is literally downtown Monkey Kid / Ninjago area, I guess, because that is the Spring Lantern Chinese New Year set. That'll be your Monkey Kid set. The new Monkey Kid waterfall potentially would just go into this display. That would then carry on over here, because we're going to have the zigzag of smaller shops and sort of theming to the carousel, so that makes sense. And then we go straight into the Star Wars section. So happy with that so far. Just got to figure out if that waterfall works where it is. I think it works okay, because worst case, if it doesn't work, it can literally go behind the A-frame cabin. So that, because that is obviously taller than the A-frame cabin, it can go there. But to be honest, I think it does look quite nice there. And when I can find the other bits, we might be able to kick the water going in that way as well, so we can have it going in and around and doing whatever it needs to do. But I think for that, we are done. So what I want to try and achieve now is wrap this video up, move those, then this weekend, what else do I need to do this weekend? Repair that. Yes, I am. If I can find the pieces, I will repair that. And then start building the Natural History Museum. So I've got loads to do, so that means this episode is completely finished. So if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the port of call for that was this, and I'm sure I have waffled on, as per normal, far too long. And let me know what you think of this new addition to the little downtown sort of Ninjago / Monkey Kid set. The photos will be up in the poll now, so I will do that once this video goes live. So I'll pick, if I can only do 4, I can only do 4, so they'll be going up sooner rather than later, or they'll be already up depending on when you're watching this from the past or future. If you can't find the poll, just write in the comment section what you think. But I am now going to mess around doing this a little bit more before I start building some bits and pieces and repairing some bits and pieces. But guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll see you next one. Ta-da.